made it back to the first waiting room for my first appointment. I have my imaging so they can review it, but we're just waiting here. The husband's here, obviously, because I couldn't drive. And hopefully we can get some answers today. Well, that's been an
Episode 3, Life in the ER. Hosted by Lindsay Wentz. She will take you on a journey of every and all ER hospital in the Tampa Bay area. You want to know your reviews? Just check in with Lindsay Wentz on Hospitals of the ER World. Or ERs of the hospital world, we'll say.
Oh, my lip is still swollen. The upper one and the lower one are still a little bit swollen. Oh my gosh, you guys. Trying to go to the doctor's office, and we're sitting in the room waiting for the doctor to come in, and I turned to Brad and I'm like, babe, is my lip swollen, the bottom one? And he's like, I don't know. And I'm like, are you sure? Like, it feels like it. And then, like, not even 5 minutes later, like, I look at myself, like, on the phone, and my upper lip was swollen, the one below my eyes. I'll have to insert the clip that I took when I was in the room. I'll have to tell you guys all about what happened afterwards, but we're heading home to drop me off because hubby has to go to work. But yeah, I was in the ER again today. Well, not again today, but again in the last how many weeks? Like, I'm gonna see if Amazon has these little things. They're called lemon glycerin swab sticks. Like, they're really helpful for like dry mouth. I was only allowed to have like this type of stuff in the hospital because they were waiting to see how I was doing. But let me tell you, it was so scary when I was getting wheeled down in the wheelchair down from the doctor's office. I couldn't swallow. Like, my throat was closing up. That was like the scariest thing. I'll talk about it more when I get home. It was awful. So thankful, but I'm gonna use these and drink some of my water. So, thank you. I don't know why I said thank you. Hubby's going to check to see if my meds from the hospital, can't believe I'm saying that, are ready. It's a gorgeous day. It's so pretty outside. Just sitting here waiting. Hope they're done. Let's hope they're done. I guess I can talk about some of it now. So, today is the 21st of March, and I was supposed to have my follow-up appointment for pain management, and then I was supposed to just my general follow-up, and then I was supposed to have my EMG nerve conduction study, or whatever it's called, and that didn't happen because of, they're still sort of red. It's still sort of puffy down here. My lip, it's not as bad as it was. Upper lip is bad, but they're both like tingly still, especially like right underneath on the inside. Right on the inside of the upper lip. That one really feels weird. Anyways, I was waiting in the waiting room with Brad, filling out the general forms you fill out every time you go, and I like started doing that. I started like itching the back of my head, especially like the lower part, like right here, and it didn't feel like swollen to me, but like later it did. But I just chopped it off to whatever. We go back in the room while we're waiting for the doctor to come in, and shortly after we got there, I was like, babe, like, is my not my nose, oh my gosh, is my lower lip like swollen? He's like, I don't know. And then he looked a little closer. He's like, yeah, it is. And then, like, slowly but surely, just more stuff started happening. Like, I could feel the upper lip getting tight, and then I was like, I felt something in my eyes, so like I felt the eyelids being like swollen. So I turned on my camera so I could see myself, because there was no mirror in the room. And wouldn't you know it, I was super, 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 super swollen. And I took a video of it, so I'll have to hopefully be able to insert it here. I'm not sure if it will happen. When the doctor came in, because things started getting worse, my back of my head in the lower part, I could feel was like swollen, which was really weird, and that was a really strange feeling. And the doctor came in, and he like looked at me, and he's like, I think you're having an allergic reaction. And Brad and I like, yeah, like, we were gonna ask for some Benadryl. And he's like, I think you're way past the Benadryl stage as far as the pill form. I'm home. I literally feel like I am living in a nightmare. Some sort of nightmare with revolving doors that end up taking me back to the hospital over and over again. The doctor came into the room, and he's just like, yeah, no, you're going to the hospital. Luckily, like, the doctor's office was right next to one of the hospitals in the area. They got me a wheelchair. The doctor and another employee took me down to the hospital, took me to the check-in desk, to where they started asking me a bunch of questions, but then they got me right back because of it being a serious situation. And the doctor was like so nice. He actually waited for Brad to come, because Brad had to take my walker to the car. He decided just to take it to the car because he knew that once I was discharged that I would be brought out by a wheelchair to the car. So like I didn't need it. Sorry, like this is just like so, it looked like, right now it looks like I got lip injections. Like that's what it looks like to me. On the way back to the room, they were asking me like questions like, can you take a deep breath and then let it out? And is it making you short of breath, or is it normal? And I said, well, I can do it, but I feel like my throat is like closing up. And like when I said that I feel like my throat is closing up, like they started pushing me faster. And then that sort of scared me. Well, not sort of, it did scare me. We got to the room, and there were like literally 6-8 people in the room, all doing something, and they were all amazing. By the time I got into the bed, that's when I noticed that my throat was really getting bad. Like, I really didn't have a lot of saliva because the medications that I'm on, I think at least one of them causes dry mouth. So my mouth, I'm constantly drinking my water. That's when like I started like getting extremely scared. And they're like, don't worry, like we have an EpiPen on standby, it's right here. Like it did take a little long for my vein to be found, which is typical for me. They had to use one of the ultrasound things that they do. They then put the Benadryl through the IV, and I never had Benadryl before through the IV. And if y'all have had it, you know the feeling. It was awful. I honestly feel like it was worse, like a worse feeling compared to like morphine or Dilaudid going in, because it just made me, I literally felt like I was floating off the bed. And then eventually like everything was heavy, like my hands just like, yeah, it just was awful. And it felt like that for a really, really long time. And I'm still feeling like the residual like effects of it, because I got that around like 12, gosh, what time did I get down there? Like 1 o'clock, let's just say. Yeah, like 12:45, 12:30, 1 o'clock, somewhere around there. And it's now 4:30. So luckily, like, they did discharge me pretty quickly, but I didn't feel like I needed to be there anymore. Like, I can swallow okay. Like, it's still a little bit, like, tight in my chest, but they said that things are still becoming unswollen. My back of my head was really swollen, like, right at the midsection. And like that still has like a pretty decent lump, not as like bad as it was. That was scary, to put it bluntly. Like that was scary, and I hope I never have to go through that again. But I'm just very thankful and grateful for everybody who cared for me so well at the hospital, and they literally went above and beyond. I am just literally done with all of this nonsense, done with being in pain. Oh, I did forget to say something. So it's really hard, I guess, to determine where this stemmed from. I think, and Brad thinks, that it's from the inhaler that I had from when I had bronchitis, and I think it was from that, because I used it last night, and then I took one puff this morning, and that was around 9 o'clock. So to me, I think it was that, and so does Brad. But because I had like this rash on my face, just like bumps and just redness earlier in the week, the doctor said that could have been sort of the start of things. And then they also said like me wheezing and feeling tightness in the chest, that could have also been the start of this allergic reaction to something. So it could be one of my other medicines, but we don't know. We're gonna have to follow up with a, my gosh, what's the word? An allergist. I'm gonna be quiet now. I'm gonna go back to sleep, and I will talk to you a little bit later. Bye, y'all.